In this video, we'll break down the configurations for the Alumni Center in ServiceNow and setting up an alumni account which gives access to the Alumni Service Center portal. To begin, we will need to install the Alumni Center plugin and also make sure the external user registration plugin is installed. In my instance, I first installed the external user registration plugin, then installed the Alumni Center plugin. To do this, we'll click on the Application Navigator and we'll search for Plugins. Then click Plugins. From here, let's first search for external user registration. We'll scroll down and open the application install, review the details, and then click Install. Here we'll click Install. After the external user registration plugin is installed, we'll then install the Alumni Center. Let's search for Alumni Center. Open the application install, review the details, and then click Install. We'll click Install. After the install is complete, let's log off then back on again. Before we jump into configuring, there's one key concept you need to understand. Former employees do not log in with their old user accounts. When employment ends, their original user record is set to inactive, protecting your license count and keeping your instance clean. A new alumni profile in the SN_ASC_user table, separate from the original user record, is created. Let's first switch to the Alumni Center application scope. In the upper right-hand corner, let's click on the Application Picker. We'll type Alumni Center in the search, then click on the application. Let's begin our configurations. We'll click on the Application Navigator and we'll search for Alumni Center. Under Administration, we'll click Configuration. This is where we define how alumni are created. You will see tabs like Personal Details Review, Automatic Creation, Admin Import, and Self-Registration. Here in the Personal Details Review tab, we can add a filter condition that automates the creation of a task during offboarding. So in this case, we're creating a task for employees whose employment end date is 7 days from now. This task allows employees to confirm their personal email and contact details. This is critical because alumni no longer have access to corporate email, and any correspondence, for example, notifications, will be sent to their personal email. In the Automatic Creation tab, you can configure the conditions for the alumni records to be created automatically. In this case, alumni records will be automatically created 1 day after their employment end date. The default state field allows you to choose how the record is marked, either approved or approval needed. When the alumni record is automatically created, it is created on a staging table called Staged Alumni. Depending on the default state setting, these alumni staging records may require an approval before the alumni record is created, or they are automatically approved, and the alumni records will be created without need for an approval. The admin import is the configuration for when the alumni records are imported from an Excel spreadsheet. The default state field allows you to choose how the record is marked. This is similar to the default state field in the Automatic Creation tab. Alumni suffix is what is added to the end of the username of the alumni. For example, a username of Daniel.Kim will get the .alum after its name. Username max tries is the number of times the system tries to add a number to an alumni user ID to make it unique. This happens when you have many users with similar names. The Self-Registration tab controls the criteria for automated validation of external users who register through the Alumni Portal. Let's first talk about the default fields to match on. Default fields to match on is the field where you configure the required fields that have to match for the alumni to be verified. The must portion of the JSON object are the fields that have to match. The any portion of the object are the fields where any one of them should be matched. For example, in this JSON object, the first name and last name field must match, and any of the, either employee number or email, has to match. These values have to match their corresponding fields on the specified table. In this case, the HR profile and user record. The default state field is the state that is set on the alumni stage record when the self-registration information does not match, according to the configuration on the default fields to match on. The default state alumni verified field is the default state that gets set when the values on the self-registration does match the configuration set on the default fields to match on. Now, let's see this in action. I have a user here named David. I have set his employment end date for 5 days in the future. In the Employee Service Center, David gets the task to verify his personal details. The task contains his personal email from his HR profile, already pre-populated on the form. David can populate the form, then submit it. Now that the form is submitted, let's go to the Alumni staging table. In the Application Navigator, search for Alumni. We will then click on Staged Alumni. Before an alumni record is generated, an alumni staging record gets created on this table. You will see that David's record is not here. That is because David is still an employee. He will not have an alumni record until after his employment end date. To simulate this process, I am going to update his end date to 1 day in the past, then trigger the scheduled flow, create alumni staging records. This flow will look at the settings in the automatic creation configuration and create an alumni staging record for our separated employee. Let's go back to the alumni staging records and open the staging record for our former employee. The state field tells us the status of the alumni staging record. Source gives information in regards to how the record was created, whether by self-registration, import, or automatic creation. First and last name is the name of the alumni. Internal user and internal profile are the employee's user and HR profile respectively. The rest of the fields are related to the employee's personal and employment information. The UI action, Generate Proposed User ID, will create the alumni's user ID based on the employee's first and last name, along with the alumni suffix that was set up when we configured the admin import. Once the alumni stage record is verified, we can press Approve. This will approve the record. I can then click Import, which will generate the alumni record. In the list view, Import All Approved will generate an alumni record for each of the approved alumni staging records. Now that I have imported the record, you will see that the staging record is now read-only, and we can go to the Alumni user table to see this generated alumni record. We'll click on the Application Navigator, and we'll search for Alumni Center. Under Administration, we'll click Alumni Users. Here is our new alumni record. The Alumni user table is extended from the user table. You will see here that our alumni has been given the alumni role and SNC_external role. Also, automatically added to the alumni group. We've seen how an alumni record is generated utilizing the automated method of creating the personal details task, creation of the alumni stage record, and then generation of the alumni user record. Let's now look at self-registration. Self-registration is another way alumni can gain access to the Alumni Center. As an alumni, I can go to the Alumni Center login page and click Register as Alumni. Here I am given a form in which I can submit to gain login access to the Alumni Center. Let's look again how self-registration is configured. There are 3 areas that need to be configured. First, the self-registration configuration, where we set the fields required to automatically verify the alumni. This we have already configured. The second area is found in the External User Registration module. We'll click on the Application Navigator and search for External User Self-Registration. Then click User Registration Configurations. Let's open the Alumni Self-Registration configuration. Here, you'll see the default settings for this configuration. In the Registration tab, these are the form fields. The Display and Registration Form column shows whether the field is displayed on the form, and the Mandatory column sets whether the field is mandatory or not. The Verification tab displays the flow used for the validation of the form when it's submitted. The flow triggers a notification that goes out to the form submitter to verify their personal email. The Transformation tab shows tables used by the Transform map. You'll see here After the form is submitted, it populates the source table, then moves to the target table, Staged Alumni. The onboarding tab shows the flow that is triggered after the email is validated. In this case, this flow is only used for logging of the access request. Advanced showcases other records utilized for the self-registration. For example, you can configure the page for a successful registration or error page. Also, you can configure the text of the registration link. The final area can be found on the portal page. Here I have added the field External User Registration Configuration to my form layout. This field must be populated with the alumni self-registration record from the External User Configuration table, or the self-registration link will not be available on the Alumni Portal. Let's look at one more configuration area. It is where we define which email domains are allowed for alumni self-registration. We'll go to the Application Navigator and search for Alumni Center. Once it appears under the Administration section, we'll click on Properties. This comma-separated list controls which personal email domains are permitted when an alumni user registers for access. Now let's see an example of self-registration. Here on the Alumni Service Center login page, I'll click Register as Alumni. This is the self-registration form. I have populated it, and now we'll submit the form. Once the form is submitted, a notification goes out to the email provided on the form. This notification contains a link such that the access requester can verify their email. The link is valid for 24 hours. This setting can be changed on the External User Registration Configuration form. After the email is validated, a record on the Alumni Stage table is created. Here, we see the record, and we are able to approve of the record generating the Alumni User Record. Two emails get sent. One contains the username, and the other contains the password of the user. I've added the names of the notifications in the description below. Now that we have our username and password for our alumni, let's now log into the Alumni Portal. After entering in the login credentials, our alumni will be required to reset their password. After doing that, they are now able to access the Alumni Portal. Now that our alumni has portal access, we can view and discuss the portal. The Alumni Portal can be configured similar to other ServiceNow portals, utilizing various content types and customizing widgets to display on the portal. Here are the popular alumni services. Record producers and catalog items on the Alumni Portal are in the Human Resources catalog in the Alumni Services category. Below are the most viewed knowledge articles in the Alumni Center. Knowledge articles for alumni can be added to the Alumni Knowledge Base. In this video, I described the basic configurations for the Alumni Portal. If this helped, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what other module you would like me to review.